Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel A to Z Automation in Java. So in the previous class we discussed about different types of memory allocation, and now in today's class we are going to discuss about modifiers in Java. There are two types of modifiers in Java, so we are going to discuss about both of these in details. Modifiers in Java. Java has two types of modifiers. What are those two types? One is the access modifier and another one is non-access modifier. As from the name you can guess that one, that is access modifiers will decide the accessibility, how what variables, what classes and what methods we can access where, and non-access modifiers will not decide any type of accessibility or access rights. So if we talk about access modifiers, firstly we will go and talk about access modifiers in Java. It is used to set the accessibility of a class or a constructor or methods or other members of the Java class. If we want to set the accessibility of any of the method, variable, class, attribute or constructor, then we will need the access modifier for that one. Okay, so we can say that using the access modifier we can set the scope or accessibility of the class, method, constructor or other members. And on the basis of that, access modifier is divided into four different parts, or four types of access modifiers we have in Java. What are those four types? First one is the public, second one is default, third one is protected, and fourth one is private. Okay, so if we talk about the first of that one, private, suppose if we start from public. Okay, let's start from the public one. So what happens inside the public access modifier? If we are using the public access modifier for any class, variable or method, then that variable can be accessed anywhere. Okay, so we can say that we can access public modifiers from anywhere. Okay, so we can access a public modifier from within the class as well as from outside the class, from the same package or from the different package. It doesn't matter wherever it is being existing, we can access it anywhere inside the whole project. Okay, so let me take an example of this public, and this public access modifier we can apply on classes as well as the members of that particular class. Okay, so just take an example. Suppose there is one class. Suppose this is the test class. Okay, okay, this is the class inside the test1.2 package, test class, and we are marking this class as a public. Okay, if we are marking this class as a public, it means that this class can be accessed anywhere inside whole project. Okay, suppose there are two more variables inside this class, and let it name as sid, and we will create one more method, public void m1. Okay, so let's return something inside this method. Let me display something on the console, that is that m1 method is called. Okay, so inside this class we have two different variables. What are these variables? These are the instance variables inside this class, and there is one public method, and we are also marking this class as public. So suppose if we are marking any class as public, what it means that we can access this class anywhere inside this whole project. What is the project? The project name of in which this class is being existing is the core Java. So we can access this class inside the same package. Suppose if we want to access this test class inside the same package. Inside same package means we can access public class inside same package and different packages as well. Throughout the project. So we can access public classes anywhere inside the project, inside the same package as well, or inside the different packages. So if we talk about same package, this test class is existing inside which package? Test2 package. Test2 is the package in which this test class is existing. So if we want to call this test class inside any other class inside the same package, then we can do it directly. How to call this class inside any other package? We can create the object directly. Suppose if we want to create the object, then just go inside this class. Let me create one method. Okay, this is the method, and let's create the object of this class. Okay, test class obj is equals to new test class obj. If it is not displaying any error, we are able to create this object directly of this public class. It is not displaying any error, and if we are using this reference, then we are able to call the variables or methods of that class as well. It means it's working fine inside the same package. We can call this test class inside the same package anywhere. Why we are able to call? We are using the public access modifier. Now let's try for the different package. Inside the same package we tried and it's working fine. Let's go inside another package, inside different package, and we open this test class 3. So this test class 3 is existing inside another package, or we can go and simply create one class as well. Let's go inside package and let me create one sample class. Okay, this is the class, and give it a name as test class 2. Okay, we create another class inside different package. So this class is inside this package, and we are now going to call test class. Test class is inside test12 package. We are going to call it inside different package. Let me create the object of that class again. Test class obj is equals to new test class. If we are able to create the object of this class and we are able to call that one, then it means that public access modifier can access throughout the project. Anywhere inside the project we can access the variables and classes which are public. So as of now it is displaying error. Just hover over this one and import test class. We are importing test class from test12 package. Test12 is the package name here and class name is test class. We are importing this one, and we are able to import. After importing the package, we are able to use this class. Now when we go and use the reference, it is again showing m1 method and all these. If it is displaying, means that we are able to access this class. This object is not displaying any error. We are not getting any error whenever we are creating the object of this class. It means that this we are able to access the public access modifier anywhere. We can access the public things, public classes anywhere throughout the project. Okay, now if we talk about suppose if we are creating the variables or the methods as public. So inside this test class we have one public method as well, m1 method. So that same thing applicable to the methods as well. If we are having any public method, then that can be accessible anywhere inside any class or any object throughout the project. Okay, so if we go inside this project, this student class is inside the same package in which test class is being present. Both are inside the same package, so we are able to call this m1 method. This m1 method is being called inside the same package. We are able to call this m1 method. It is marked public by nature. This is public and it can be accessed inside the same package. Let me try to call this inside the different package. Okay, now we will go and use obj dot m1. You can see this m1 here now. If you are able to see, means we can access the public methods as well throughout the same project anywhere. So if we talk about the accessibility of the public, we can say that we can create one chart like this one. Let's create this thing as public. We are talking about public, and within class. Second thing is within package. Outside package. Outside package. By subclass only. Okay, so now you can see that public classes or public variables are accessed inside the same class. We can access the public things inside the same class, then we can mark it as yes here. Yes, we are able to access the public things inside the same class. And are we able to access the public things inside the same package inside the different classes? Yes, we are able to access inside the same package inside the different classes. The third thing is outside the package. Are we able to access outside the packages as well? Yes, we are able to access outside the package. And suppose if we are talking about what is this outside the package by subclass only. Outside the package by subclass only means by extending the class. If we are extending any class, suppose this is the test class. This is the test class which is being marked as public, and there are public variables, public methods. This public method can be accessible outside the package by subclass also. What is that subclass? Suppose if we are not creating the object here. Now what we will do? We will extend this class. Extend, and now what we will extend? We will extend test class here. Now what this extend do? Extend will inherit all the properties of test class. This will inherit all the properties of test class inside this test class too. You can see that there are different variables and methods inside this test class. I, S and M1, and M1 is marked as public. So now whenever we are using this extends keyword inside any other package, so what we are doing, we are using this test class as a subclass. This test class is marked as subclass outside the package. So now if we are creating the object of test class 2, now we will not create the object of test class, we will create the object of test class 2 here. Okay, now if we use the reference of this one, if we are seeing this m1 method, it means that we are able to access this m1 method from the subclass also. This subclass outside the package is also working fine in this case. Okay, now second keyword in the queue is default. For default, what happens? First thing is within the same class. Within the same class means whenever we are creating, first of all, whenever we are creating any variable as default, then we will not mark anything before that particular method or variable. Suppose if we want to mark this method as default, then we will remove these things. We will not mark anything before this method. It will automatically treat it as default method. Okay, so suppose if we are marking any method or variable as a default, then inside same class we can access this method. How we can access? We can check we are able to access, create any method. We are creating public static void main. Okay, now in order to access this variable, what we need to do? We need to create the object of the class. Let me create the object of this class. Okay, obj. Now you can see I, S and M1, all of these are marked as default. We are not using any type of access modifier before these. If we are not using any access modifier, it means that it is marked as default, and we are able to access all of these inside the same class. If we are able to access inside the same class, means it is working fine here. So we can say that yes, we can access the default variables and methods inside the same class. Let's move to the second point, within the same package. Now what to do? We already created these defaults, variables and methods. Let's go inside another package. This class is residing inside which package? Test12 package. Now let's move to this another package. This is the second package, core Java package, and here we have created one class. What is that class? Test class 2. Let's open this one. Okay. Okay, so second point is within the same package. We missed this point. Within the same package. So if we talk about within the same package, means inside same package by different class. So inside same package, we are inside the same package as of now. Let's do it through different class. Let me create one more class here. Inside same package, I am going to create one class. Let's give it a name as test_qid. Okay, we created one more class inside the same package. Okay, these two have the same package. Now what we will do? We will call the variables and methods of this test class here. How to call them? Just create the object of that one. If we are able to access those variables and methods inside this class as well, it means that we are able to access the default variables and methods inside the same package. If these are not getting displayed, it means these are not accessible. So let's try this one. We can see I and S and M1 as well. So if we are able to see these things, it means that default variables and methods can be accessed within the same package as well. All these two classes are inside the same package. If we are able to access these variables and methods, it means that default can be accessed inside the same package, within the same package. Now third thing which comes in the queue is outside the package. Our default variables and methods are accessible outside the package as well or not? So let me go here and try for this different package. This test class is residing inside test12 package. Now let me go inside core Java 1.2 package. Here what we will do? We will open this test class 2. Okay, so this test class 2, what we are going to do? Let's remove this one, and now we will create object of this test class here inside this another class. Okay, so I am changing this one. Okay, we are able to create the object of this class. Now what we will do? Now if we will try to call those variables. Now you can see this. We are unable to see the M1 method, I and that another variable S. All these things are not getting displayed here now. Why we are able to create the object? We are able to create the object because class is public. But variables and methods are default. So default variables and methods are not accessible outside the package. This package is different and our class is residing inside test12 package. So if we create the object of public class in another package, then only the public variables and methods are accessible there, but default variables and methods are not getting displayed here as well. So we can say that we are unable to access the default variables and methods outside the class. Okay. So if we are unable to access the default variables and methods outside the package, then it will also be not accessible using subclass as well. We can directly see this. Okay. Now we will talk about the third variable inside the queue, that is protected. What is this protected? If we are using this protected keyword before the variables and methods, then these will called as the protected variables and methods. Let me mark them as protected now. Protected. Let me mark only one variable as protected. Okay, one variable, and I will create one more method as well, so that we can define easily whether we are doing correctly or not. Okay, let me mark this method as m2. I created one m2 method which is protected, and there is one m1 method which is default, and one protected variable I and one default variable s. So if we talk about protected variables and methods within the same class, what will happen if we access in the same class? So if we talk about the same class, then we can access using the object of that class. And what is that protected method? m2 method is protected method, and I is the variable which is protected. So inside this same class, the class name is test class, and we created the object of this class. Now we will use the reference and call this one. Here you can see that we are able to see this I variable. If we are able to see this I variable, means protected variables and methods can be accessed within the same class. That is possible. And you can also see this m2 methods as well. m2 method is also getting displayed, but the icon, now the symbol is being changed. For the protected, you can for default you can see the triangle. For default you can see this simple triangle, and for this protected you are square one. Okay, this is the square one. Okay, so this is the square one which is being which is the symbol of protected, and the triangle is the circle of default, and this circular one is the public one. Okay, so you can see the m2 method as well. If it is accessible inside the same class, it means that protected variables and methods can be accessed inside the same class. We can mark it as yes. Second thing is inside the same package. Inside the same package means inside different classes, but in same package where this class is residing. This test class is residing inside test12 package. So let me try to access these m2 and I variable inside another class. Another class is testqrt. So let me access here. Both are having the same package. You can see this test12 package and testqrt is also having the same package. So now inside this another class, I am creating the object of test class. After creating the object, we need to check whether we are able to see this I variable and m2 method here or not. If we are able to see those two things using the object reference, you can see this I variable is also getting displayed here, and m2 method is also getting displayed. It means that protected variables and methods are also accessible within the same package. We can mark it as yes here. Okay, now let's move to third point. Third point is outside the package. If we talk about outside the package, then let's go and discuss about this point. Now we will open another class which is outside the package. Outside the package we can see this test class 2. This test class is inside test12 package, but this test class 2 is residing inside core java underscore package 1. So now we have already created the object of this class. Let me try to access the variables and methods. What are those protected variables and methods? We can directly see here. Okay, let me do one thing. Yeah, this is the test class 1 2. This is the test class which is inside test 1 2 package. And now we are creating the object of test class inside another package. We are creating the object inside another package. Now if we try to call the variables and methods, then we will not see, we are unable to see I and m2. I and m2 are not getting displayed here. It means that protected variables and methods are not accessible within the different package. Outside the package, these are not accessible. Now if we talk about this outside the package by subclass only, let me check by subclass. What we did in the subclass, we created one class and we tried to extend that one. So what we can do, we can delete this object. We are commenting this object. We are commenting this object. Now what we will do, we will extend and add test class here. Now test class is acting as a subclass. Now test class is acting as a subclass here. Now let me try to access now. Now what we will do, we will create the object of test class 2. We are not creating the object of test class here now. We are creating the object of test class 2. Let me try now obj. Now let's see. You can see this now. This protected variables and methods are getting displayed here now. Whenever we are creating the object directly, whenever we created the object directly of test class, we are unable to see inside this class. But when we are extending and we are using test class as a subclass, then we are able to see this. It means that protected variables and methods are accessible outside the package, but by subclass only. We can access the protected variables and methods by subclass only outside the different package. Okay. If we are accessing the protected variables and methods, then we can access using subclass outside the different package. Okay. Now the last point in the queue is private variables. Now the last point in the queue is private access modifier. So if we talk about within the same class, let's go inside this one and talk about same class. Inside same class, let me mark, now I am removing this and marking them as private. If we are marking this I and m2 as private, so let me try to access from the same class. In the same class we have created the object, and let me access m2 and I here, obj dot. Now you can see this square shape. I is also getting displayed and m2 is also getting displayed. If m2 and I are getting displayed, it means these are accessible. So we can say that private variables and methods are accessible within the same class. Yes. And another point is within the same package. Within the same package means through different class inside the same package. Let me go inside same package and open different class. So inside this different class, we have created the object here. Now we have to check for which variables and methods. Private. M2 method is private and I variable is private. M2 method and I variable. If we are able to access M2 method and I variable from the object, then we can say that we are able to access the private variables and methods within the same package. So let me try to access them. Here you can see that I and M2 is not visible. If I variable and M2 method is not visible, means the private members are not accessible within the same package as well. This is not accessible here. If we are unable to access within the same package, then that will also not get accessible within the different package as well. We are unable to access in the same package, then it will not go outside the package as well. If we go here and let me open one class outside the different package, this is the class test2, and now if we try to access that test class, let me create the object of test class here. Okay, let me we have created the object, and what are the private variables? I is the variable and m2 is the method. Now we are accessing outside the package. I and m2 are also not getting displayed here. It means private variables and methods are not getting displayed outside the package as well. And the last point is the subclass. Through the subclass, so what we need to do, we need to remove the object, we need to extend this class. Extends test class. So now what we will do, we will create the object of test class here. If we are able to see I variable and m2 method, then we can say that private variables and methods are accessible outside the package through subclass. But we can't see them now. Protected are getting displayed, but if we talk about private, then I and m2 method is not getting displayed. It means outside the package through subclass is also not working here. Okay, so this is the accessibility. You can check this directly. These are the access rights for public, private, protected and default variables and methods. Okay, so this is all about access modifiers as of now, and in next class we will discuss about non-access modifiers like final, static and abstract. So as of now, take care everyone, thank you, and please do like, share, subscribe our video.